Hi guys, welcome to this session on a Microsoft project. In this module, I want to have a look at effort-driven tasks. So what I've got on the screen are 4 tasks, and on the resource sheet I have got 4 resources. So first of all, if I double click on task A and get myself onto the advanced tab, this is where the task types are. So you've got 3 types: fixed duration, fixed unit, which is the default, which you can change, and fixed work. Now on fixed unit, you can see you've got the effort driven tick deselected, fixed units deselected, fixed duration it's deselected, but if you select fixed work, it is selected and you cannot deselect it. So if you select that type of task, you don't get the option of having it on or off. Now if I go back to fixed units, which is the default, and take the tick off, this is how it works. So if I assign somebody to that task, so if I go resources, assign, so I get my resources. So if I assign Anne to that task, nothing happens to the duration. If I assign Ben to that task, nothing happens to the duration. If I remove both of those two and then assign them as a group, nothing happens to the duration. If I add extra resources because I want to get it done, nothing happens to the duration. So how does the effort driven work? So what I need to do, if I assign Anne initially, so that's what I think this is going to be, one person, one day, and then I go into the task and I've decided actually I need to get this done quicker, so I need Ben to help Anne. I can double click into task A, go into the advanced tab and tick the effort driven for this particular task. OK, so now when I add Ben, it will start driving the task down to half a day in this case. If I add Bill, it drives it down a bit more. If I add Bob, even more still. And if I'd done some work already, it would do it proportionately. So whatever work you've done, time phase work you've done, it would do it proportionally, reduce the task. So that's what the effort driven tick does on a standard default fixed unit task. Now if I go into task B and double click on it and put that to a fixed duration task, again you've got the tick, so I'll leave that off for now. I'll assign Anne, nothing happens to the duration because it's a fixed duration. I assign Ben, nothing happens to the duration. They're over allocated, but that doesn't matter for this little video. Take that off, remove. So now let's go and put the tick on, the effort driven tick for fixed duration. Okay, it's on. Now I assign Anne, nothing happens. Assign Ben, see what happens now, the cost starts going down. So the duration remains fixed, but the cost of the task is what's being shared between the two of them. Now if I go to the task usage view, in fact the quickest way to get onto that is here, task usage, you'll see how that's divvied that up. So they're both doing 4 hours. If I assign Bill and then Bob, you can see the breakdown in terms of hours. They're doing 2 hours each. Now the percentage looks a bit strange when you look at this. You could change that to 25% if that is something that you don't like looking at, but it's because of the way I entered that. If I just do 25%, the actual figures themselves don't change, the costs don't change, and they are actually just doing 2 hours each of an 8-hour task. So if I go back to the Gantt chart, so that was a fixed duration task with the effort driven tick on. So it's the cost that changes. So if I'll just do that again, so I'll do a fixed duration without the tick off just to see the comparison. Assign the same people, I'll assign all 4 of them. They're all getting £80 per day, whereas on this one, if I click on this task, they're only getting £20 for 2 hours work, £10 an hour. So that's the difference. And if you want to see that column on here, you can just add the cost column, and then it will give you that breakdown, so you can see that. Or you could change the table, view table, to cost, and that gives you the comparison there. Now the last one, I just didn't do that, the last one is a fixed work type. So if I go on to fixed work and change that to fixed work, I don't get the option to take the tick off, so it's on, so it's going to drive the duration down depending how you add people to it. So if I add Anne, nothing happens, £80. If I add Ben, still £80, but now it's doing the duration. So if I didn't want that to happen, I would have to put that back to 1 day. Now what I've not done is added the work column, because that's what this is all about. If I go into the work column, you can see the hours worked, it's still 8 hours, so that's why it's still £80. So again, if I go to this one, this view, you can see that they're just doing 4 hours a piece on this task, and then if I add that, it starts to drive it down again, the duration comes down, and again you can adjust this. If I go back to the Gantt chart and just move that over, still getting 8 hours work done, and it's only taking a third of a day. But if I put that back to 1 day, because that isn't the fixed part, the 8 hours is the fixed part, so you can see how that works. So that's the difference between each of the task types and how the effort driven tick works. Now if I get rid of that for a minute and go to file options, in options you can actually change the default setting. So you've got down here default task type, and you can change that to whichever one you want, and you've got this option to put this on, tells you there exactly what it does. Now in the older versions of project, this was on by default. When I say older versions, I'm thinking 2007, which is really old now, but prior to that. But you may well still have files around like that. You just need to be aware of that it's not on in the newer versions, and if you want to change it, you can do. But that's all I want to talk about in this little video. So that was task types and effort driven tasks, what happens when you select effort driven. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.